Now, joining me to discuss this right now is Obah Clement-ehigiator, is ADC Chairman FCT Chapter. I also have Anthony Ehilebo, is a PDP Chieftain, and Wilfred Ifogah is INEC's Deputy Director of Voter Education and Publicity. Gentlemen, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
All right, let me first start. Great. Let me start with the ADC Chairman within, of course, for FCT Chapter. Mr. Ehigiator, this last election that happened over the weekend, the council election that happened in the FCT, quickly, how would you rate it? What would you score? What would you give the outcome?
Yeah, I cannot even score 15% in this very election, though INEC scored the 2022 election, the turnout rate was lower than this last few days area council election in FCT, but the participation and the processes of this election, I think the 2022 was far better. In my own rating, at least, I will rate the last 2022 election than what the INEC just rated this present area council election.
All right. So for you, you said that you have reservations and that you are pretty much not, for want of words, maybe happy with the outcome. But I'll come back to you. I would like to direct the same question to you, to Anthony. Anthony, with what we saw over the weekend with the area council elections, any reservation? Are you comfortable with the outcome?
I don't think there's any sane person that will be comfortable with the outcome of the elections that just held in the FCT. Coming from, I mean, what we saw in Edo State, which was one of the last elections before Anambra, INEC under then Mahmoud Yakubu was said to be terrible. We saw the same result manipulation, mutilated result sheets, results being more than the accredited voters. And of course, if you look at the lead up to the elections, we had a heated debate surrounding the passage of the 2026 Electoral Act, which is now a law, and the resistance to the removal of electronic transmission of results, and being the only method or the Section 633 being one and the most accepted way of verifying that results have not been tampered with, streaming from the polling unit all the way to the collation center. And going back to the Electoral Act, which says if there's a discrepancy between what was brought from the collation center, the deciding factor will be looking at what is on the IREV. During the election, I closely monitored the election. The IREV was not operational till 6 hours after the close of voting, which ends at 2:30. So you had upholds beginning from 6 p.m., 7 p.m. is when we saw that IREV came online. Whereas the IREV is supposed to have been immediately and automatically uploaded and results pasted on the wall. So this, all the mechanisms that had been fought for and put in place to forestall complaints like this, scenarios what we've seen as with the results that is from Kwali Area Council, Yangoji, Koboko Health Center, where you will see the number of accredited voters there was 343 or so. And then you had APC scoring 1,222 votes. How did that magic happen? Where you have, it's on your screen, Koboko Primary Health Center. You will see APC having 1,222, whereas the accredited voters up there is 345. Okay. How did that magic happen? How is it that INEC allows this result? In fact, the earlier posting of results on the IREV, some of those result sheets were from elections that had happened 4 years ago, 2023 elections. How did that happen? How is it possible that in 2026, a year before general election, INEC still cannot get it right? And we have a man that is supposed to be first of all, a legal luminary, an SAN, a professor of law, at the helm of affairs of INEC.
Okay, let me leave you for a moment. You raised some questions or some concerns. We have with us right now the Deputy Director of Voter Education and Publicity for INEC as guest this evening. Maybe you should just put some clarity to some of those issues that have been raised, the discrepancies in terms of number of accredited voters and the results, amongst a plethora of other issues. It's great to have you, sir. Please, the floor is yours, Mr. Wilfred.
All right. Good evening, and thanks for having me.
Yeah.
First of all, in terms of clarification, that result they were talking about, I just wanted to upload it back and let me guide you on what happened there. There was no discrepancy in that result you are seeing there, because from what you can see there, the presiding officer, the total score there was 121. All right. Then look at what is written in words. Okay. Then go down to the bottom of that result sheet.
Okay.
And see the total figure scored, 211. And what was written in words for total votes scored? All right. Then you go back. So it was not bloated. We've already interrogated that matter and found out that they said instead of writing one particular figure, I made a mistake and wrote 122 and has to correct it. So I don't know, and that thing has been flying, giving the wrong notion about what happened there. That figure is not 1,200 and something. It is 121. And look at what she wrote in words, and which is correct. And if you go to the bottom of that result sheet, the exact thing is written there. So please, let's change this narrative. Most people didn't actually look at that result sheet to see what was actually done there. And I also want to let you know that at the polling unit, INEC actually did deploy a particular mechanism to assist the presiding officer so that their result entry will be error-free. Where the calculation is not done properly, it will not upload on the beavers until it is done properly before it is uploaded. That's one of the mechanisms we actually carried out in the field, and we use the FCT election as a pilot scheme for it. So, and in terms of getting stakeholders involved in the process, prior to the FCT election, there were a lot of engagements on what we are doing and things like that, getting them involved. If there is anything they need to know, the commission will bring it to them. And if there are clarifications they need to know, they will ask their questions, and those issues will be cleared. So especially with this FCT election, for us in the commission, the percentage, like we said, we work with facts. In 2022, we had about 9-point-something% in terms of voters accredited, in comparing it to the total number of registered voters. While in this particular one, we had about 14-point-something, almost 15% turnout of voters who came out to vote. So these are records. It's not that we actually just cooked them up. They were on our dashboard as voters were accredited. We got those figures, and that's why we came up with it. For us, it was a nice outing, although we had skirmishes here and there, but then it's not enough to say that the process was incredible or to probably to cast aspersion on the chairman of the commission that is not ready to conduct elections.
All right, we'll go on a quick break. When we return, we'll expand the conversation to look also at some other issues that came up and get some sort of clarity to all of this. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. Of course, it's still Politics HQ on News Central Television. We are looking at the moment at the reactions and, of course, fallout of the the council elections that happened at the FCT over the weekend. I still have my guest with me. Mr. Anthony, I'm coming back to you right now. I believe that the Deputy Director of Voter Education and Publicity of INEC has put some clarity to some issues that you've raised. But let's also look at the role of political parties in this process. The PDP actually did win a seat, even though there are reports that the candidates might have defected. Maybe you might want to confirm that to us. But let's also look at the role of political parties, particularly the opposition like yourselves. Would you say that you are fully prepared for this election?
If you want to ask of the role of the opposition, right up to the build-up of this election, there was a lot of mobilization in terms of the political parties, in terms of opposition parties. We were more concerned that we didn't want to have an election that we couldn't defend. And with all due respect to the INEC person, we've seen situations where the case is still at ICPC, where INEC officials in Edo State produced alternate result sheets. And these result sheets were sent to South Africa for verification. One person signed for 18 local governments, where he may say that there's a new day. Look at a result sheet. If you go to a bank and you want to make a withdrawal, and you take a withdrawal slip, and the withdrawal slip looks like this, you think that bank will give you any money? I mean, it doesn't make sense as far as we're concerned. There's a high diligence level we expect from INEC. And where INEC is not giving that, we'll query it. Speaking about the political party, you are not unaware that the APC has done everything possible to foster problems in every single political party in Nigeria today. And you know, the laugh in all of it is that they think that they are in power today and they will not be out of power tomorrow. They think they will be in power forever. Let me tell him, Vincent Ogbulafor of the PDP once made a boast that PDP will be in power for 62 years. Less than 2 years later, the PDP was kicked out of office in 2015. And that is the life of politics. Politics is not meant for you to occupy a position eternally and perpetually. It is subject to the will and wishes of the people. What we see happening today is that it, by every means necessary, has tried to subvert the will and purpose of people.
Mr. Ehilebo, in 30 seconds, what do you have to say about
by Trojan horses? They have been infiltrated by sponsored actors who have gone against the grime of what we call normal politics.
Okay, but what do you have to say about party members who defect? I mean, for instance, the People's Democratic Party, your party, has seen in recent months a gale of defection of individuals who won offices on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, who gained political relevance on the party's platform. Some of them even swore to be loyal to the party, but months, years down the line, they are jumping ship.
Are they jumping because they have? Are they jumping because they have a valid position that they are defecting because of there's a principle?
They are making reference to internal crisis within the party.
No. What internal crisis? Like I said, there are Trojan horses that we are seeing clearly. We saw, for instance, the minister of the FCT campaigning for APC and saying and making comments that like, go and vote after the election, leave me, I'll do the rest. How does someone make that kind of comment and walks away and there's nobody to hold him to account? This is a minister that declared no movement for a local council election, which hindered voters. I mean, at 11 or 14%, INEC is jubilating. That's a total failure mark on them.
All right, I'll come back to you, Mr. Ehilebo.
And inspire voters to come out and perform their duties.
Okay, I'll come back to you, Mr. Ehilebo. Please, sorry, we're also trying to manage time and ensure that everyone is given the opportunity to express themselves. Mr. Ehigiator, I'm coming to you straight. You, of course, are a member of the opposition party, the ADC. You are the chairman of the FCT chapter of the party. Would you say your party was well prepared in advance? Did it have enough ground soldiers, for instance, because they say politics is grassroots? Would you say your party was well prepared, for this election?
We were prepared than ever before. In the interactive session, like the INEC staff there said, during interactive session with the national chairman of that empire, the commissioner of police was there, the traditional ruler was there, the FCT rec was there. During the interactive session, I made sale that before this election, the FCT ministers threatened that if they refuse to vote the ruling party, APC, there is going to be trouble in FCT. And there was another threat again that I mentioned in Mabuchi. There was one man called, and the commissioner of police immediately sent the first PRO to get that video. I have to send it to them and threat that if you don't vote APC, they will chase you out of a community. up till now, the Commissioner of Police did not even make any arrest to that effect. You invited me here to this studio this morning as early as about 6:30. We never knew what was going to play out in Benin. You can see what is going to happen the next general election, 2027. We were prepared. We do all we need. In fact, during campaign, you are in FCT here, you found out that before the election, the ruling party could not even campaign. Rather, they were carrying POS from village to share this money. And you can see also there was vote buying across the 62 ward of the 6 area councils. So little we can do when you call police to assist you in some area, nobody attend to you.
All right.
We were fully prepared. Let me tell you, across Kabosa, let me say Federal Housing, Trade Mall, across Airport Road, look at all the result sheets. I can make copy, publish. You find out that there was no polling unit that APCs called 6, maximum 7, because there was no turnout. Maximum, you see 35 votes,
right.
28. But the APC was called maybe 6. Then in Tungamaji, the only period they went to campaign, they chased them out from that community, not to campaign because they don't want to see APC. But go and look at the result that come out from Tungamaji. Where did that result come from? If they did not allow them to even enter to campaign in that community, right. Where did those results come out from?
All right. I mean, you've raised some issues. I would, of course, would like to direct it to, of course, the Deputy Director of Voter Education and Publicity of INEC, who is our guest this evening, to respond to some of those issues. Particularly, there was also another issue of a certain text message from the Commission announcing a change of voters' venue for some voters. I'd like you to speak on that. And also, anyway, let me allow you to address that first before I move to my next question.
All right. Okay, yeah, I know this particular one you're talking about is the voters that were sent messages reminding them of where their polling unit is, okay? That change did not just happen a few days to the FCT elections. In short, the exercise that the splitting of units that were densely populated was done as far back as 2022, before the general elections. For those that can recall, prior to that time, the Commission, because for polling units that have very large numbers of voters, over 1,000 plus, what the Commission does was to split them into what we call the parent unit and the one we call the voting points. This was primarily done to ease, what is it called now, the accreditation process as well as the voting, in order not to create a chaotic situation, especially with the number of voters to be accredited and also in that same process vote. So we are operating with that. Until in 2022, the Commission carried out an exercise we called the expansion of voter access to polling units, thereby seeing the creation of over more polling units in Nigeria. Okay, so when those polling units were created, some of them were left with zero votes, zero voters in them. So what the Commission did was the split units were now taken just from where the parent unit is to another location very close to where the former one is, so that even when they come around, it will be easy to locate where the new unit is. So it's not like they were migrated, just like the way they are putting it, as if it was just a few days to the election. So in order not to keep them aloof about what is happening, the Commission did send text messages to remind them and also to inform those who were not aware. We did that same thing before the 2023 general election. And as the FCT election was also approaching, the Commission also took our time to send these text messages first, second day, and even on that day of the election, even text messages still went around to remind people about this, the allocation of their polling unit. And also, even before then, there was a display of these registers at designated centers so that people can view it. At least it was a week before that time, so that they can view it and also know where they are going to vote. So it's not like probably it was a thing done just because of the FCT election, just the way they are trying to report it. We didn't just migrate voters like that, but it was an exercise that was done in 2022 in order to expand access to voting units and also to make it easier for voters and also decongest already overpopulated polling units to allow the process smooth.
All right, we'll go on our final break. When we return, we'll be taking our final thoughts on this. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Many thanks for staying with us. It's still Politics HQ on News Central Television, and of course, I still have my guests with me. Well, before we eventually, of course, wind up for tonight, I'll be coming straight to you, Mr. Anthony. Mr. Anthony, just in 30 seconds. Are there takeaways for you from the FCT elections in lieu of 2027 general polls? What would you like to see differently? 30 seconds.
Okay, so I'd like to posit this. For every time someone, either a police officer, an INEC staff, or anybody has intervened in usurping the will of the people, because that's political corruption, the DIG that oversaw the rigging of Edo election in 2024 was demoted and kicked out of the Nigerian police force. The current IG that, or the former IG that oversaw the FCT election, passed whatever instructions, today was booted out of office, so use and dump. I would like people to understand that elections have consequences and that elections should be a representation of the people's will. INEC has a responsibility. And if going by the voter turnout it is saying, there's a diminished perception crisis INEC is suffering because people do not trust it to deliver elections. I would like that people begin to take seriously the implications of not allowing the will of the people to thrive. People will become disengaged and they will find an alternative measure of making sure their wishes are respected. Please, we do not want Nigeria to devolve into that state. We already have security crisis left, right, and center coming from the north and even now creeping towards south. All right. We need to have our will respected. People's wishes when they go to cast votes should not be suppressed by deployment of police officers who aid and abet the rigging of elections. We should not have INEC staff who are mutilating result sheets to favor an outcome that does not reflect the wishes of those who have gone out to cast their votes. Nigeria needs to move beyond this very mundane act where decision-making for who leads people, it's leadership. It needs to be, that process needs to be refined to reflect the will of people. All
right, thank you very much. How about you, Mr. Clement? 30 seconds, your final remark.
Not until INEC and the Security Commissioner of Police and the sister agents work in line with the Electoral Act. There are so many electoral offenses during these area council elections. Not until the Commissioner of Police that promised me that man that make a threat for people not to come out in a particular community to cast their vote arrested, I will know we are still having a long way to go. I want to tell the national chairman all these promises during the interactive session. They should follow it up so that they will not allow people to say, election does not count. That was the preparation, that was the work we do across the Area Council to convince people to your election we can't, your vote we can't. Please come out and vote so that at least this ringing pattern will not occur. Because when you have margin of voters, it will be difficult to ring. But wherever you threaten people not to come out and vote, you create apathy. The people is afraid to come and vote. They will not have an opportunity to change figures and ring. My takeaway is that I will be watching if that man will be arrested. That is when I know we are getting ready. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Wilfred Ifogah, from everything that has been said, and from the perception of some Nigerians, there seems to be a major trust deficit between the people and the electoral umpire, INEC, which of course you are a key official there. So I'm going to put this question to you. Part of what might be responsible for this trust deficit is the autonomy of that body, that institution itself. So I'm going to ask you a very direct question. Is INEC truly independent?
The Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria actually empowers the Commission and gave it its mandate that we are using. And of course, there is the electoral framework that the Commission uses in carrying out its activities. But despite that, the Commission does not work alone because we work with stakeholders in order for us to achieve our activities. The Honorable Chairman of the Commission is just one person. The chairman cannot be in over 120,000 polling units where voters will cast their vote. And in order for us to achieve that, we also call on Nigerians to join us in this great task for us to be able to do it. Yes, we deploy polling officers to the field, but then we do not know their mindset about how they are going to carry out these activities. We train them to do it. Like I do say, if I have opportunities like this, to let them know that INEC can only do maximum 40% of the process, and we engage other Nigerians in various walks of life, your siblings, your daughters, your sons, your brothers, your sisters. These are the persons we engage as adult personnel in the field, and we train them to do what they are supposed to do. Then they go out there. There are certain things we don't have control over. We don't have control over the security. We only ask them to collaborate with us to ensure that the environment is secure enough for the conduct of elections. We don't have so much vehicles or this logistic plan we have. So we co-opt other groups who have the ability to do that to join us. So in all of this, even the politicians themselves, there are rules guiding this game, but you see them, you see what is written in the electoral, the legal framework, but they do the opposite. We don't know why. But there's one thing that is clear. For every Nigerian, a patriotic one who wants to oppose the laws that is written in the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, and also it is enshrined in the Electoral Act as provided, definitely if they do their part, and as we have also done our part, you find out everything going on smoothly. If not for anything at all, the introduction of the INEC result viewing portal is one deliberate attempt by the Commission to ensure that whatever happens at the polling unit, even if you are not there, you'll be able to see it. If not for the IRF, how will people know that certain things like this happen or certain things like this were uploaded on the IRF? That's why they're able to judge it so that they can compare with it. And today, a lot of persons are now clamoring for the electronic transmission of the result generated from the polling unit. And of course, the law is also backing that one. So what I expect of every Nigerian, play your part, so that when the Commission makes the arrangement and brings that, everyone will ensure that the process is smooth, credible, and transparent for everyone to see. So it's not like whenever situations occur like this that are negative, everyone wants to keep it on the Commission. So it's not like that. Everyone has to play their part. But definitely what I want to assure you is that, just like the Honorable Chairman said, that we are going to do everything possible to ensure we work by the law established by the country.
Okay, all right. Before I just let you go, I believe that you can respond to this in one word. Does INEC have the capacity to transmit results electronically in real time?
Control of the communication in Nigeria. If every other backbone is set up that will enable us to do that, of course we can do it.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure having you, gentlemen. It's been, of course, quite an interesting one. Once again, thank you very much.